So it took, you know, a good portion of that day, maybe not a full 9 hours, but maybe around 6 hours to render that 15 seconds of animation. And I can find all of those images here in my project folder under images. Okay, and here they are, 360 images that have been rendered. What I want to do now is bring these into Premiere and export it as an MP4 file. So I'm going to go ahead and open Premiere. Now, while this is getting ready to open, I do want to mention that, you know, if you left it for the last minute, the project, and didn't have a full night to render your scene, you could try rendering at a lower resolution size. I don't think I could give you full credit, but maybe just the point would be taken off if you rendered it at 960 by 540. Or if you're really in a hurry, you can create a play blast, and a play blast isn't going to give you a rendered animation, but it will at least show us the scene. So those are some very last minute options. Try not to use them because it will affect your grade for the project, but I know that sometimes our systems crash or are unable to handle rendering 9 hours of something overnight. It should be fine. Again, like I said, this is I'm working on an older MacBook Air, and it didn't have any problem rendering, never has a problem rendering. So Premiere is opened here now, and what I'm going to do is, some of you might already be kind of familiar with this process. I'm going to just create a new project if you were in Core 3 with me last semester. And that's fine. I can leave it untitled because I'm not going to do any edits. I'm just going to be rendering this out. So I'm just going to go ahead and say okay. And now what I want to do within Premiere, which is a video editing software with Adobe, is if you're unfamiliar with Premiere, we have these two windows here allow us to preview. These will preview the source clips. This previews your video. This is the timeline, but in order to be able to view the timeline, we need something in the timeline. We also need something in our project folder. So our project folder here, it says import media to start. This window is where we'll get started. So I'm going to double click in this window. It says import media to start. And I'm going to find my project folder, images. And I'm going to select this first image here. Now what I want to do is I want to go down to options, and I want to click on image sequence. And what this will do is we'll bring in all of the images together as an image sequence. I'm going to go ahead and hit import. Now, one thing about this image sequence is that the frame rate is not quite right. So I'm going to right click over it, over this piece of footage here that's in our project. And I'm going to say modify, interpret footage. And I want to assume the frame rate of 24 frames per second. I'm going to say okay. So now our frame rate for our image sequence file is the same as our frame rate that we rendered out. I'm going to just go ahead and drop this into my timeline to create this sequence. And now I have this little play button here so I can preview my render. Okay. And now I will go ahead and export this. So I'll go to File, Export, Media. I can export this as a final project. I can do it here, maybe just in my final project, maybe in my project folder for week 4. Actually, no, just export it as a .mp4 somewhere on your computer where you can find it. Final project, make sure the project settings are 720, the same, they should match the source. And then just go ahead and say export. All right, great. That's all you need to do. You then would need to share this to Vimeo or YouTube if you need help remembering how to do that, or to create an account and upload a video. It's pretty intuitive working with either of those video sharing websites. I would recommend Vimeo because there's no ads that are associated with the content there. So we can easily just preview your video without being sold other videos for us to watch. It's also a platform that a lot of users and creatives use instead of YouTube. But you can choose either one if you have an account with either one. You should have had an account if you took Core 3 with me last semester. If not, if you need help getting started with that, let me know. I think maybe what I'll do quickly is just show you. Let me open up Maya and give you that alternative play blast method. If you don't render your images in time, you can generate a play blast. I do not recommend it. You will not get full points if you do a play blast, but it would be something, which is better than nothing. So let's see, let's open up Maya here. Okay, here we are in Maya, and so what I'd like to do is open my project file. Let's do my final. And I can go to Windows, Play Blast, okay, AV Foundation. From window, we want to make sure we are just using this window, or you can say actually from render settings, which would be even better. From the render settings, we want to make sure that we are in our camera 1 view. Okay, and let's see, scale, we can say scale will be 1. And let's say save to file, let's say final. Let's browse where we want to, it's going to be an MOV file. So not an MP4, which is, let's just save it to the desktop. I'll save it here, final, quick. One thing to know is that, you know, there are things in your scene here, like these lights, you know, these are going to show up in the play blast. Any of these, what you can do is we can maybe add these to our, before we go ahead and hit the play blast, let's add them to this layer by right-clicking and saying add selected objects. Maybe they'll remove, and they're still there. Maybe I can go to the attribute editor here and say this object display, turn off their visibility, but that turns off maybe the lighting scheme for them also. So yeah, they might just be in the scene. You know, you can maybe move them since they're direction lights. We can move them so we're not looking at them, so we're not rendering those out. So let's just go ahead and say hit play blast. You can see the grid is there. And this is a 960 by 540. But anyway, you can get the, this is just a quick. So let's see what the quality difference is here, right, between the two. I have my final project. Okay, so here's a rendered and here's the play blast. So this is a much better quality than the play blast is. But the play blast is an option for you if you waited to the last minute to render out your scene.